Okay, I'm going to see how quickly I can do this here. Conference report. This was a couple of days ago. Posted up a video called "Life is Sweet Claims Battery Chicken," and it was a response to Gray Text, and they're sort of having a haggle back and forth that I partly precipitated in my response video to Wayman 29 on can non-believers comfort believers, and um, I don't know how all this got started, but the point of the story is Fred ended his video kind of invoking my name and suggesting that I was claiming that a person is a thing, or that the universe somehow achieves the thingliness of persons. And I didn't even get what the reference was. It was hard for me to make exact sense of how anything resembling my position or what I've tried to say was fitting in there. So I wanted to just say some things here, and I wanted to begin with the statement that a person is not a thing. Yeah, a person's not a thing. I don't think I would hope I've never said that. Now, in the recent video I posted, I ended with like a colloquial line like, as a person enters existence, they become part of everything that's ever existed and everything that ever will. Well, that's, you don't want to take that too literally. I'm not suggesting that a person is a thing and they've achieved thingliness status and somehow this is to be commended, or this is the great achievement. No, 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 no. And I have so many videos on this, and I mean, I've shot so many videos on my first book on selfhood and authenticity where I've tried to talk about what is a self. Um, Paul Tillich, okay, very well-known scholar. He was the mentor of my mentor, Calvin Schrag. And when Schrag was studying, and this was back at Harvard in the 50s, and they were being introduced to existentialist philosophy. And Tillich had told the students, when you go home for Thanksgiving, you're going to have to explain to your parents and your relatives what it is you're studying. And he recommended that they begin with the line, "You are not a thing." Yeah, a person's not a thing. A person is a very complex process. It is an event. You're an eventing. You, you are an ongoing, metabolizing, respirating, oldest you've ever been exchange with the environment. And so, thing, even the word thing is very problematic. What do we mean by thing? There's a great book by Heidegger called What is a Thing? I think the point, though, is that if you're going to address a person, like if I were going to say, what is a person? Well, first off, the person is not a thing. And I'm going to put a link down to that book, which now is available on Kindle. So if people are looking for a Kindle, my first book is now out on Kindle. But look, the way to think about a person is this, that a person is an intersection of at least four different areas. There's embodiment, sociality, symbolicity, and temporality. And all four of those are what we mean by a person. And let me also say that when I say a person is not a thing, Dewey is so important here. He says when communication occurs, events turn into objects, things with a meaning. And so the world is just ongoing rates of change, just intersecting events of all kinds. And when certain kinds of events intersect at certain rates, objects appear. So speech is a kind of event. Our world is an eventing. Speech turns things into objects. So, I mean, we can take something eventful as a whirlpool or as a river or as a cloud, and then somehow the word takes that event and treats it as a thing. Well, the same with a self or a person. There's an eventfulness that is being treated as if it were a thing, partly because of language. Now, it's not simply because of language, but it's partly that. You're embodied, you're social, you're symbolic, and you're temporal. When I say that you're embodied, I mean you have a fleshy materiality of your body, but even that, it's very difficult to get at the body's boundaries. There are semi-permeable, boundaries all through where I'm taking in food, I'm giving off waste. There's all kinds of bacteria living on my body, throughout my body. So much of my body is an opening to space and time. It's not just a thing inside a space and time that it's representing. No, it's the body itself is of space. It's indigenously through and through thick with the space that's around it. I mean, there's literally, molecular intermingling between the atmosphere and my skin, or my body wouldn't have the shape that it does. I mean, it basically is compacted into its shape due to atmospheric pressure. Okay, so there's embodiment, but there's also sociality. That part of what we mean by a person is that a person is social through and through. And when I say social through and through, I mean that sociality is a condition of your existence. It's not just a feature of your experience. It's a condition of your existence, not just a feature of your experience. And so, I mean, not only are you the combination of lineages and all kinds of genetic stock that took many, many people to make you possible, but you come to your own self-awareness through dialogue with others. You're always already in a community. You emerge out of a person, literally, and then you emerge self-consciously out of a larger socio-historical community. You gain a name, a language, all kinds of things that you did not invent from others. Sociality, again, is this next component. It's part of a body. Notice that what makes a body is sociality. That is, other people produce your body. When you move to symbolicity or linguisticality, speech, language, somehow, everything about our world is made over in the image of language, at least to the extent that we talk about it. So, I mean, part of the problem with the word like thing or the word like body is that they're more just words. There isn't anything that you can't say that isn't just a word. It doesn't reduce everything to words, but it kind of does this Buddhist, head to the stick kind of stuff by reminding people that even if we're embodied through and social through and through, we're symbolic through and through. And part of what we mean by a self is the kind of thought, the kind of reflection, the kind of openness to the past and to the future that symbolicity makes possible. And then the last one is temporality, that we are temporal beings through and through. And that you age, that you have an age, that you have a sense of history, a sense of memory, and that memory isn't the same as history, even though they're very interwoven, somewhat interlocked, but that you have a sense of the future. You have a sense of conscience that's helping you navigate toward a future that you hopefully won't regret when you get there. It doesn't have to be anything more than just sort of practical in the openness to time. So, again, a person is not a thing. A person is not a thing. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, a person is an event. It's a place and moment. It's a clearing of care that includes at least embodiment, sociality, symbolicity, and temporality. And then the sticker point here is that each of those components of self, each one of them, is actually made possible by the other three. That is, you can't really understand embodiment without explaining what sociality is, what symbolicity is, and what temporality is. You want to get at sociality? Well, you're going to have to explain embodiment, symbolicity, and temporality. The same with symbolicity. You're going to have to explain embodiment, sociality, and temporality. And if you want to get at what temporality is, somehow you're not going to be able to get at temporality without being able to address embodiment, sociality, and symbolicity. Each of those elements make up the other three, co-constitute the other three, and all four together give this sense of self. But at no point is a person a thing. I guess I'm not sure where that was coming from, but I wanted to just chime in for clarification. Okay, thanks.